I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. SHALAWAAM, CHASAADYAM, Barakyam. Peace, mercy, and blessings unto all of the brothers out there, the elders. All right, unto all the sincere, shepherds that are pushing this word wherever you may be scattered. To the ZEBULON, Barakyam. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahawah, which means he exists or he is to be. The true name of the Son is YAHAWASHI, which means he is the deliverer. We are the Hebrew Israelites, which consist of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. All right, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, Latins, Hispanics, Haitians, Jamaicans, West Indians, the people that are called minorities. We are actually the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. The so-called white man, they're not white, they're red. They're Idumeans, according to the Holy Bible. All right, and we are yet this day in our captivity here in America. What YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushua is doing is a great and mighty and very beautiful work. All right, because YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushua is actually destroying this place from within. I got an article right here. This is from All News Pipeline. Okay, All News Pipeline. It says something really bad is going to happen. This is 9/19/2023. It's the date of the article. It says all it will take is one major event, cultural, political, or economic, acting as a match to light the unstable powder keg that is America. That's right. It's all it's going to take is whatever little thing in this house of cards that is America is going to come crumbling down. Something really bad is going to happen. Family, friends, and neighbors seem to have more anger than usual. Something feels very off. These are just some of the type of statements we have been seeing with increasing frequency all across the internet. There are a variety of reasons for this uptick in anxiety, okay? And this feeling of waiting for yet another shoe to drop, all right? Because Americans are feeling the squeeze, okay? I said Americans are feeling the squeeze, working 40 to 60 hours a week, yet not being able to put a roof over your head. You have a lot of Americans that work full-time jobs, but they have to live out of their car. Now imagine doing that in somewhere like upstate New York where it gets cold as hell, man, or Chicago where it gets cold as hell. This place is hell. And anxiety is thought without control because people, have all these emotions or inward agitations with Satan is on these people, man, thinking about the bills, what they're going to eat, this, that, It says, and that is because of what we see happening around us and throughout the nation on a daily basis. And crime is up, drug abuse is up, and you have the love of many waxing cold, okay? People are more angry. There's road rage incidents are up, all right? People are deleting themselves, deleting their loved ones. There are a variety of reasons for this, jump down. From a dementia-ridden puppet occupying the White House, that is Sleepy Joe, with no clue as to who exactly is really pulling his strings or medicating him for that matter, to a weaponized Department of Justice attempting to politically persecute and prosecute the leading candidate from the opposing party to non-political issues. This is all being done to educate the American people, to instigate them to war. Okay, a civil war is Bible prophecy. All right, it's sedition. That's Bible prophecy, man. That people are going to come up against the government. Okay, it says those include everything from store items forced to be put behind lock and key because of the out of control theft in certain cities and states across the U.S. to the inability of some Americans to know which public bathroom to use. There's a lot of confusion out here. There's a lot of crime out here. Now you have Whole Foods trying to introduce a QR code for customers to scan in and out. So now people are starting to boycott Whole Foods. Whole Foods also have to pay with your palm system set up, just like the Amazon Go store. So we know what that's leading up to. That's leading up to Karagma, Revelation 13. Okay, it says to issues that have no business being political and yet have become so. Here is an example of what that last statement means. Transitioning minors. How did America get to the point where allowing surgeries that literally mutilate children's bodies and drugs given them to prevent puberty, altering their natural growth permanently, are opposed by only one political party, right? Democrat versus Republican. You know, which are pretty much two wings of the same bird. You know, but the Democrats are definitely demonic. Blue states, which New York, California, the blue states, man. Chicago, Illinois, blue state. Okay? Do you know that 41 U.S. states have laws against female genital mutilation? Yet if a child claims to be a T, somehow it is all right to cut off a minor female B, giving puberty blockers, castrating males. All of this is happening here, man. Okay? There are so many other reasons that everyone is on edge, some of which we'll discuss below. One of the big reasons is the Bidenomics. People are suffering. Price of gas is up. Price of food is up. Rent is up. Only thing that ain't up is your hourly wage. That shit is low as hell. Okay? Then the way it's set up, you have to work. You're gonna have to work about 60 hours a week, and that's so you can afford rent, but you still got to eat, but you're not sleeping. So now you're put in a position where you're sleep deprived. So of course you're angry. All right. Then everybody's rushing around. Very hard to save money. You know, you gotta take care of your car so you can get to A to B. You know what I mean? It says fault, but rather because the 19 era government benefits expired. Now, those special benefits were instituted in July 2021 by the Biden regime. So a lot of that shit is going, you know, student loans, rent moratorium. You know, a lot of people are getting evicted. There's a lot of evictions down there in Atlanta. You know, that's going to spread throughout the country. A lot of people are going to be homeless out here. You know, like going down here, gas prices spiked and the regime released so much from strategic reserves that we are at the lowest levels since 1984, and now gas prices are on the rise again. See, up here in New York, it's pretty much $4 a gallon, you know, where I'm at. Okay, pretty much $4 a gallon. So let's get opening scripture. I'm going to get that in Matthew, love of many waxing cold, you know. It also says in Isaiah that the city of confusion is broken down. YAHAWADAH is breaking Babylon down. Okay? And this is beautiful. Halalyam la YAHAWAH. You got a fucking dementia-ridden puppet in there who don't know if he's coming or going. Okay? Matthew 24:12. And because iniquity shall abound, and that's sin upon sin, the love of many shall wax cold. Let's see what that says in the Bible Hut, man. I want to see what other translations have to say. I like doing that. Okay, NIV, Matthew 24:12. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. Now, doesn't it tell you in 2 Esdras 15 that wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth? This is causing people to grow cold. Okay, to the fact where you have children deleting their parents, parents deleting their children, husband deleting their wife, wife deleting their husband. Okay, and the NLT, sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. English Standard Version, and because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. There's all type of lawlessness, all right? Injuries, riches got by deceit, that's running rampant out here in America, okay? And I got a dream from my man Mike Adams at Natural News. Let's check this out, okay? That's Joel 2:28, which we're going to get that too. Matter of fact, before I play it, let's just read it, you know? This is the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass that afterward I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, right? And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Now, when I say daughters, women all right, are not hitting the streets. Hell, women of the other nations, they don't hit the street and teach. You know, women are not hitting the street and teaching like Great Millstone. The men of Great Millstone are out there week in and week out. Rain, sleet, or snow, whatever season, in season, out of season. All right? No, what it's talking about is the Lord's going to put the spirit on women. He's going to give them dreams. They're going to tell their husbands, or they may tell, little children may tell their parents, and they may just hit record and put it on the internet. And then you have the men of the Lord, the brothers, to go and filter it through the scriptures and give you what the dream means. You know? And it says, your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Prophesy means to say before it happens. Your old men shall see dreams. Okay? Your young men shall see visions. Okay? Now let's check this out.
I had a very vivid dream this morning that I have to share with you because I think it's a premonition of things to come. And the dream was that there were gun battles at the ballot counting areas, precincts, buildings in the 2024 election. And I want to be clear and just state...
Oh, you best believe if people have to endure another 4 years of Biden, people going to fucking snap. You know, which out around RAWCHAA, we're not, you know, Lord willing, we're not here that long. You know, we got this dumbass devil. You know what I mean?
And the dream was that
Lord willing, they push the Karagama soon, you know, but it's all Lord's will. It's just, you know, he's just going off a vision that the Lord gave him. You know, but nevertheless, we know if the people have to endure another 4 years of Biden, people are going to snap. People are already snapping, you know?
There were gun battles at the ballot counting areas, precincts, buildings in the 2024 election. And I want to be clear and just state this right up front. I'm describing a dream that I had, which is kind of a horrifying dream. And I'm not advocating any particular action, certainly not advocating violence. I'm here to share a warning of things to come. And I think that this dream really, it made a very deep impression, emotionally charged impression. You know, I was horrified by it, realizing that America is breaking down into a civil war scenario and thinking that, gosh, you know, if the events portrayed in this dream come true like this, it means that the Civil War begins with the next attempt by the Democrats to rig the election. And my impression is that the American people are done with putting up with election rigging because they know that the 2022 midterms were rigged, the 2020 election was stolen, the 2018 midterms were rigged, and more American people have come to realize that the only way Democrats can retain power is simply by cheating and stealing and rigging and lying and committing massive fraud. And the American people, more and more, are just done with that. But the thing is, they're not going to stop. The Democrats aren't going to stop until they are stopped in some way, either by, you know, undercover journalism, exposing it, like Project Veritas used to be, now James O'Keefe on his own doing OMG, or whistleblowers coming forth, or I guess potentially the horrifying scenario that I saw in my dream, which is actual gunfights in the voting districts, which the way I saw it in my dream was that the people of a state, and it didn't, I got the impression that it was like Michigan or one of those northern states, maybe Wisconsin, but it seemed like it was Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, something there. For whatever reason, that's just the impression I got. But it was like the rural residents of the state saw the vote rigging going on again, just like in 2020, and they just, in my dream, they just marched down there with their rifles and just said, enough is enough. You know, we're going to confront you and arrest you, and we're going to demand honest vote counting instead of vote rigging. And then in the dream, you know, gunfights erupted. And it's not even clear to me in the dream which side law enforcement was on or which agencies or whatever. But I would imagine that the corrupt governors of states where the governors are Democrats, like Michigan, for example, would try to call out, the state guard, but then that local sheriffs and maybe even certain police might be on the side of America, together with the people. But I do see the risk of a situation developing where the tensions are so high and the vote rigging is so blatant and just so in your face, and the tyranny of the regime in power is so outrageous that this kind of actual fight could take place. I mean, conservatives across America are right now realizing that
Which fighting is going to take place, man. All right, I'm talking about on a plane of a on the level of a Civil War 2.0. You know, on the level of a Civil War 2.0, fighting is going to take place. Right, there's great divisions being brought. Okay, and the reason for this division is they wanted to instigate, you Americans to fight, and in doing so, they can declare martial law. Thus, they can go around casting you out your homes, all right, and confiscate your guns. It's order out of chaos. The devil wants to bring order, but first he needs to aggravate and instigate people to bring on that chaos. And there's all type of agents, infiltrators. There's a lot going on, man.
America, together with the people. But I do see the risk of a situation developing where the tensions are so high and the vote rigging is so blatant and just so in your face, and the tyranny of the regime in power is so outrageous that this kind of actual fight could take place. I mean, conservatives across America are right now realizing that the entire judicial system is completely rigged against them. You have these corrupt Marxist judges that are put in place by, Barack Obama in many cases, and then others put in place by Biden, that they don't care about the rule of law. They don't care about even the evidence. This judge recently issued a default judgment against Rudy Giuliani for saying that he failed to produce evidence under subpoena, and it turns out that evidence was found on devices that the FBI confiscated when they raided his residence. So the FBI took the evidence away, making it so that Rudy Giuliani could not produce that evidence because the FBI had it. And then the judge issues a default judgment against him saying, you refused to comply with the subpoena. It's a rigged, impossible system. We are really at the point right now, I believe, where, frankly, all conservatives across America should just stand up and say, we no longer recognize the authority of your corrupt, twisted judicial system. Because you don't follow the rules of evidence, you don't follow due process, you don't respect the Constitution, you don't even follow logic or reason. You find every conservative guilty by default, everything's rigged, but every liberal, every Democrat is just let go. Here, go back on the street, continue to carry out more crimes. They're always found innocent, but every conservative is found guilty. This is what the judicial system has become. And these are signs of what happens in a nation historically before revolts or civil wars or breakdowns in civil society. And one of the main reasons that I'm going public with my horrifying dream and this horrifying vision is that I desperately hope that it doesn't come to this. I desperately hope that the American people can realize what's happening and vote the Democrats out of power peacefully. But then I know it brings up the obvious question. They don't respect the votes. They never honor the people's will. They cheat.
Now we know that presidents aren't elected, they are selected. So your vote don't even matter anyway. You're deceived. Democrat, Republican is pretty much two different wings of the same bird, man. All right, two different horns of the same dragon that's blowing fire on your ass. Okay? And a lot of people, they don't want the precious, America to go through this. But hey, it's Bible prophecy. People don't understand that they're actually living in Babylon the Great, and that this place has to be destroyed.
They rig, they override the people's will in order to stay in power. So the question becomes, how do you vote yourself out of a vote rigging, authoritarian, tyrannical regime? And I don't know the answer to that. Seemingly, it is by definition impossible to vote your way out of that, because they're going to keep rigging all the votes. So I don't know the answer. I do know that I don't want to see violence. I don't want to see bloodshed in America. I don't want to see American blood spilled by other Americans, for all kinds of reasons, but one of them being that it seems to me like the globalists want a civil war in America in order to cause domestic chaos, so that then the nations that want to invade and occupy and destroy America can be more successful in doing that. I'm thinking in particular communist China. So we know that communist China is sort of at the ready with a plan to activate thousands of operatives, People's Liberation Army operatives that are in the United States right now on student visas, and sometimes they're corporate CEOs. Sometimes they work with governors, or they work with senators. Like Senator Dianne Feinstein's office was basically an extension, it was a branch of the CCP in California. So China is just waiting for America to be weak, so that China can launch its invasion of America and activate the saboteurs, and then bring across troops from the southern border with the Mexican narcos.
Which there's already a lot of Moab troops over here, man, that it came up through the border. So this place is is invaded. Man, all praise and glory to Yahawah BAHASHAM. And Salaki, I know I'm playing a lot of the video, but he's bringing out a lot of good information, man. Okay, and we're gonna get some scriptures, but we're gonna play a little more, and I'll be interjecting, and I pray that this will be edifying.
The drug cartels, with the Chinese Communist People's Liberation Army command,
they're already here, man. Moab is already in this bitch. Okay, there's all type of sleeper cells here. They're just waiting to be activated.
commanders, and then just wreak havoc across the continental United States. And so it's the weakness, it's the internal weakness that would create the opportunity for a communist regime to actually make gains in that effort to conquer and occupy and destroy the United States of America. The other thing that it would do, which is another reason why I hope that we don't see any kind of violence like that, is that it would give the Biden regime, which is a corrupt, criminal, treasonous regime, the justification to declare nationwide martial law and to try to attempt gun confiscation.
Exactly. That's exactly what they want to do, man. They want to confiscate your guns. Democrats, they believe in taking your guns. Okay, let's look at some compare contrast between the two parties. Even though we both know it's the same bird, we're still gonna look. Check this out. It says, what are you for? All right. D, pro A word, Republican, against the A word. Blue, socialism. Red, capitalism. Blue, atheism. Red, Christianity. Big government, small government. Same sex, man and woman. Anti-gun, pro-gun. Higher taxes, low taxes. Legal immigrants, legal immigration. Anyone can vote, voter ID only. Anti-police, pro-police. Open border, strong border. Obamacare, no Obamacare. So that's the vision, man. Okay? Let's get that in Matthew 12, man. Okay? Because this place is it's divided on every level. It's corrupted. It's corruption on every level. That's Matthew 12 and what, 25, 26? Let's just see. Yep, 25. So let's get that in the Bible Hub. This is Matthew 12 and 25, New International Version. YAHAWASHI knew their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and every city or household divided against itself will not stand. Okay? This place can't stand. NLT. YAHAWASHI knew their thoughts and replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. Okay? Doomed. Doomed. Babylon doomed. Okay? A town or family splintered by feuding will fall apart. English Standard Version. Knowing their thoughts, he said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is laid to waste, and no city or house divided against itself will stand. NIV, verse 26. If Satan drives out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then can his kingdom stand? And Satan is the word that means adversary. In that sense, we can apply it to Edom, the so-called white man. You know, and this is their kingdom, their power, their structure, their rulership. They're divided on every aspect. Okay, so how is this kingdom don't gonna stand? Okay, Babylon is fallen. Call halalyam la, Yahawah Bahashaam. All praise to Yahawah Bahashaam.
And so it's possible that what I saw in my dream, if it is a premonition, it might be that in fact confiscation. And so it's possible that what I saw in my dream, if it is a premonition, it might be that in fact it was the FBI dressed up as rural Americans carrying out the shooting as a false flag operation on election day in order to give the Biden regime the justification to declare martial law and to attempt gun confiscation. Maybe that's what I saw in my dream. Or maybe...
And another aspect of that, you know, which he may mention, you know, but another aspect of that, if he does declare martial law, then guess what? This motherfucker is going to stay president. So that's gonna really piss people off, man. Really.
Maybe what I saw will never happen. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just my own fear, right? That's possible. I don't know. It struck me as particularly vivid. And I don't have very many of these ultra vivid dreams, but when I do, they tend to come true. And a few years ago, I shared with you publicly this dream I had about a very vivid explosion and fiery event in a courtyard surrounded by buildings where there was like a food cart with a bamboo umbrella or something. Remember that? And then, what was it? Within a week or something, there was exactly that event unfolded. I think, was that in Thailand? There was a terrorist explosion. I think it was in Thailand, and it fit exactly the description. And, you know, that made me realize that sometimes, for whatever reason, I have these vivid dreams, and they, you know, maybe the dreams are emotionally charged because it's a real world event where real innocent people, you know, die and suffer, and there's kind of an emotional broadcast from that. At least that's a theory. But I don't know. You could just say, nah, it's just Adam's it's just mind going overtime haywire, just dreaming up all kinds of crazy stuff. Okay, maybe it is. But it's not fiction that America is headed into real conflict. You know, it's not fiction that our government regime is a lawless, treasonous bunch of tyrants and terrorists. That's not fiction. That's truth. You see that every day. It's also not fiction that the Democrats are lawless. I mean, they're pro-censorship. They want to silence everybody with whom they disagree. They rig everything, not just elections, but also court cases. You know, the media is wholly dishonest. The media will not report the truth about Joe Biden and his bribery and kickbacks and the Hunter Biden laptop. And, you know, the deep state is they've sold out America. You know, the border is wide open. The DOJ is totally controlled and corrupt. Like, that's all right in your face.
All right. So it's about, you know, 22-minute video or whatever. We played about half of it. You know, I'm not going to play all of it for time's sake, but he brought out a lot of information. And in other words, he's telling you that you're pretty much fucked. You know, excuse my French, but this place is pretty much screwed. Okay? And that's the Lord breaking this place down. because the judgment of the whore have reached unto Yahawah Bahashem Yahushai. This is Isaiah 24 and verse 3. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahawah Bahashem Yahushai has spoken this word. And how that's going to happen? Ultimately, it's going to happen by nuclear missiles. But guess what? Before the nukes hit, this place is already going to be fucked up. Because as it's written in Luke, I'll come to send fire. What will I if it already be kindled? Okay? 24, the earth mourned and faded away. The world languished and faded away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. And that means to pretty much wax weak or deteriorate. Okay? And if we look at the statue from Daniel's vision, we're in the, we're in the clay, the 10 toes. All right? Which the clay to gold, it's not the same thing. It's of extreme lesser value. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. Is that not what this government does? Okay? Say that every day. Therefore had the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. And that few men is going into who? The elect. 7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. Okay? It's going to be a lot of weeping, sighing, gnashing of teeth out here, just like Yahushua said. 28. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice ended, the joy of the harp ceases. The Most High is going to do away with all this music, song, all this dumbass bullshit music. Just like it says in Ecclesiastes 12, the daughters of music shall be brought low. And what do you have today? Your sexy reds, your glorrillas. Okay? 29. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink. And you ain't going to be able to drink and forget these. You ain't going to be able to drink and escape these birth pains that are coming. That is the famine, earthquake, uproars of the people, sedition, civil war. You ain't going to be able to escape that by drinking. All right? Hell, you'd be lucky to find a drinking that day. 10. The city of confusion is broken down. It's broken down. Okay? Completely broken down. Every house is shut that no man may come in. That's going to happen real soon. You're going to have to shut your house up from your neighbor. That's how bad it's going to get, to where a man is not going to have pity upon his own neighbor. Okay? 11. There is a crying for wine in the streets. People is going to want answers. Okay? But you know what? In that time when people want answers, they ain't going to be able to find them, because there will be a famine of the word by that time. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. All joy will be darkened out here, man. And the Most High is going to strip away all joy, laughter, smiles, good times. Hell, these are the good times now. And people right now, hell, they're fucked up. Barely making it. But shit, people going to look back in the time where they're in the camp. They're going to appreciate these times. Right? And the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Right? That's what's coming to Babylon the Great. Great destruction. Now there's this, let me get another precept here. Jeremiah 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. That's what's coming. Okay? Call halalyam la Yahawah Bahashem Yahushai. That's what's coming. And this is another video from Mike Adams from Barakyam. Okay, I'm going to play a little of this. Then I'll maybe get one more precept. And then that'll be a lesson, But hey, check this out. It says, former Homeland Security Tactical Team Leader, warns about America's approaching civil war. What's that? Egyptian against Egyptian. And we can't forget about this edition. Okay? Okay, we got that queued up. Let's play this.
Welcome to today's broadcast here on Barakyam.
It's about an hour, almost 58 minutes. You know, of course, we're not going to watch the whole thing.
On.com, I'm Mike Adams, the founder of Barakyam. And we've got a first-time guest here, but someone who has been in the orbit of many of our other guests for many years. And this man is an extraordinary person who has quite a story to tell about what he has seen and what he's doing now. His name is Doug Thornton. He's known as Wrecker. And he used to work with Homeland Security. And now he focuses on being a podcaster and a part-time minister. But what he sees coming for America should concern us all. So welcome to the show, Doug. It's been a while since we've spoken, a couple of years actually, but it's great to have you back on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. I'm doing great. You know, it's a pivotal moment of time in Americans' history to be having this type of conversation. You know, in 1861, the first Civil War broke out, and many people saw that coming, but many people didn't know how to react to it. And now, once again, it seems that we're coming up on Civil War 2.0, as people like to say, and we all see it coming, and yet still people don't know how to react to it. And you know, the bad part about that, Mike, is that it gives the government the advantage to take full advantage of Americans who are sitting on their hands, not preparing for the inevitable downfall of the dollar.
Yes.
Which is just one of the many cascading events. And I know we'll get into Civil War, but let me ask you this. How close do you think we are? Because I get asked it all the time, but I love to ask the question back. How close do you see it?
Well, I'm not sure about how passive the American people are. And since my expertise is health and food contamination and toxins, I do know that the American people have been neurologically poisoned through a variety of vectors that are inhibiting their ability to cognitively function and also to behaviorally respond to threats or stresses, even life and death threats. So whereas, you talk about the Civil War in America, the people at that time were mentally healthier, physically more capable, and spiritually stronger at that time than they are now. I see the American people, by and large, although there are many exceptions, such as you and I and our audience, but by and large, they are passive, they are brainwashed, they are malnourished but overfed. They are intoxicated through a variety of toxins, including deliberate toxins that are introduced into the food supply, hormonal toxins, gender bender chemicals. They are indoctrinated, they are psychologically beaten, and I'm not sure if they are capable of even grasping what's happening, even as they're on their dying, or even as they're being thrown into quarantine camps or shot, kneeling over a ditch by the establishment that sends out soldiers to exterminate them. I think for many people, they cannot respond. So I don't know. I mean, that's my honest answer. I don't know if there are enough people who can respond to what's happening or what that might look like.
Well,
And he's absolutely right. Americans have been dumbed down through the water, okay, through all the chemicals in the water, through the chemtrails, through all the chemicals in the air, been beat down through the continual violating of the constitutional rights. All right, so you're not smart enough to challenge anything because you don't know, because you've been dumbed down and you haven't been taught it your whole life, man. You've been dumbed down through the food, been severely oppressed, okay? Severely oppressed. So he's right, man. The Most High is going to have to put the spirit on a few men to rise up. Hey, and some of those may be agents, infiltrators,
I consider myself to be an amateur historian. And looking back into history, there's a great book. I forget the author, but the name of the book is called Ordinary Men. And it doesn't take a while for someone to go back to the 1930s to start to look at the beginnings of the formation of the Nazi government. And there's a main key factor that actually helped the Nazi government really catapult itself above other tyrannical groups, and that was the Schutzstaffel. What the SS did originally, and not many people are aware of this, you might be aware of this, but not many people are, but the Schutzstaffel, the SS, was actually a law enforcement branch. It was a what you would consider federal law enforcement branch. The SS ended up taking over every aspect of intelligence gathering and law enforcement. And when they put everything underneath that one umbrella, they captured all elements of the government. And as people began to resist, you had to deal with the SS. Of course, we've heard all the horror stories from the SA, the stormtroopers who originally were used to scare people and to kill people and bully people. It was on the night of the broken glass when the SS was used to help finish off the SA and their 80-something higher-ups. And so then they were no more. But once the SS took over, you then start to have these things called concentration camps that are being built. About 12 million people were killed in these camps, and still today people debate it, and I think, you know, that's a horrible thing that people debate this, but the thing that I view down on is law enforcement. That's what I was. That was my career. And so I look at this through the lens of a law enforcement officer. The first groups of people who were used to do the roundups were the local law enforcement and the National Guard. Now, at that point in time, if you did not want to serve in the Wehrmacht, in the German military, you had to serve in the Order Police. The Order Police was the National Guard in ordinary parishes and sheriff's departments, your local police departments, if we're antiquating this to America, all thrown together. They took orders directly from the SS. And they were the ones who went into Poland, and this book, Ordinary Men, talks about it in gross detail, about one of the first times that the police were used to round people up. And there's a passage in this book, Mike, and I think the guy's a colonel or a lieutenant colonel, and they're heading to Poland. He tells his guys, I don't know exactly where we're going, but I'll tell you what we're going to do when we get there. They get to the place where they're going to, and he gets everyone out of the truck, and he said, listen, draws a line in the sand. We have to take everyone from their homes, and if they resist, we kill them, and we're moving them into, you know, train cars and trucks, and they're being pushed off to these ghettos, the concentration camps and ghettos. And this is the pivotal moment that I have been preaching about to my guys when I was in federal law enforcement and so on, is that those men were given a moral and ethical decision line in the sand. And they were given a choice. If you don't want to do this, cross the line. If you want to do this, stand here with me. Not one person crossed the line. They all chose to go through with the beginnings of the atrocities that eventually became the horrific concentration camps and death camps. We can parallel that to today's law enforcement. Now, I am not anti-law enforcement. I am very pro-law enforcement, but the right law enforcement. What we have now that has been established is a tyrannical form of injustice from the Department of Justice, and they use federal law enforcement and state and local law enforcement, whoever they can get to do their dirty work. And it has created a rift in the people. We see this with January 6th. Look at what just happened with the Governor Whitmer case. Those two guys were completely exonerated, and the FBI is completely to blame for it, but they will never catch what they should have. This is one of many different things that are going to be cause and effect of a civil war here in America. If you'd like to move on to this conversation.
Real quick,
go ahead.
In term, you were working in federal law enforcement.
Yep.
But you've spoken a lot about local, sheriffs and police departments and so on. Is it fair to say, I'd like your assessment on this, the kind of people that you worked with, and I know that you were deployed to different cities to respond to, for example, Antifa terrorism attacks against government buildings, correct?
Yes, sir.
And against also federal officers who were being hit with green lasers and Molotov cocktails, and their vehicles were being torched by Antifa and so on. What's the willingness among the kind of people that you served with to go along with a Holocaust? And how does that compare to, in your opinion, what would happen at various sheriff's operations, especially rural sheriffs in rural counties versus city police? Who's willing to go along with tyranny and a Holocaust, and who's not willing to do so, in your experience?
I would like to say that most cops should be conservatives and constitutionalists, because that's what we're here to do. Is to protect the Constitution. The thin blue line is the guys who stand between the riots and the crowds. One side's Republican, one side's Democrat. The thin blue line is supposed to be the cops who stand on the Constitution, protect that, and we the people. But that's not so. And you have infiltrators from the top, and they have their guys who've worked their way from the bottom up. And I would say that the vast majority of law enforcement is there to do the job and to protect we the people, and I'm in the 90 percentile. But there's a eerie 10% that's at the very top somewhere in Washington D.C. and elsewhere that is not on our side. That they admittedly are not on our side, and to include many in the intelligence agencies that are not on their side, and they're not going to like the fact that I'm talking about this, and that's okay. The average sheriff's department, Podunk Police Department, you have infiltrators there. And look, I'm going to say something that, is probably going to be a stigmatism, but it doesn't take very much Googling to find out how many local law enforcement has been involved in child trafficking schemes. You cannot trust anyone just because they have a badge on.
Man. And he said a lot. It's only been 10 minutes, but they're saying a lot. Call halalyam YAHAWAH BAHASHAM. A lot is coming out, and this is gonna lead to sedition among men and invading one another. Okay, the 2 Esdras 15 and verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And this is going to happen all throughout America. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 19 and 2, because it says brother against brother. And this is the Bible Hub with the different translations. NIV, I will stir up Egyptian against Egyptian, brother will fight against brother, neighbor against neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Okay, it's going to happen all throughout America, right? City against city, kingdom against kingdom, brother against brother, right? And we know a house divided is bound to fall. Back in 2 Esdras 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, right? The third woe cometh quickly, and that's going to be by nuclear fire. In the midst of that, one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Okay? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings and their princes. Why? Because their kings and their princes have sold their ass out. They're sellouts. They're not really for America. They're not really for Americans. They're for the NWO agenda, and they have sold you out. They don't give a shit about the Constitution. In fact, when they declare martial law, they're going to take away your constitutional rights are suspended. Okay? And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So pretty soon the Most High is going to put the spirit on different men such as himself. Okay? They ain't going to, they just going to, they're going to have the power in their hands, and it's going to be extreme sedition. This is the online etymology dictionary definition of sedition. It says a rebellion, uprising, revolt, factitious commotion in the state, concerted attempt to overthrow civil authority, violent strife between factions, civil or religious disorder, riot, rebelliousness against authority. All right, comes from Old French sedition, okay, and directly from Latin seditionem. All right, nominative seditio, civil disorder, dissension, strife, rebellion, mutiny. Literally a going apart, separation, okay? And even speaking out against them is a form of sedition. So this is sedition. This is prophecy happening right here, man. You know, so with that, you know, it's some long videos, you know, but that's pretty much the point. So I'm going to end it there. You know, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. You know, I want to say repent. You know, Matthew 4:17. From that time, Yahushua began to teach and say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You know, I pray this was edifying and informative. Shalawam.